We are all in on clean energy, on solar, wind, and natural gas from renewable resources like methane capture at local farms, because we're all in for our planet, a cleaner future, your family, and we're all in for generations to come. Dominion Energy. Actions speak louder.
You must really like Halloween.
You mean Samhain?
What?
Samhain, also known as All Hallows Eve, also known as Halloween. Predating Christianity, the Celtic holiday was celebrated on the one night between autumn and winter when the barrier between the living and the dead was thinnest, and often involved rituals that included human sacrifice. I like your eye patch.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Monster Madness. My name is Erica, and tonight we have a special episode for you. Before we get into that, let me introduce you to my favorite guys. With me, as always, Dan Gwynn.
Hello.
And Matt Stein.
Hey!
Hey, guys.
I had to one-up them there.
I love it so much. You're so peppy.
Who, me?
Yes,
It's
you.
because we finally got a good microphone. We got a new mic.
We do have new mics.
I think
so-
now everybody will hear my peppiness.
I'm starting to wonder where all this money we're making is going, and you guys keep talking about all this new equipment, so I think I know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I just we went on an Amazon little spree. We're just like, we should get this. We should get this. We should get
Add
this.
to cart, add to cart.
And I was like, all right, let's just get it.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm the same way with like drum equipment. Like, I don't need this, but I want it.
So I'm going to get it.
Yeah, that's basically how it is.
So basically, tonight is special because it is our first holiday special. Are you guys excited? It's Halloween.
Oh,
I was excited the first time we recorded this.
Okay, full disclosure, because we're very transparent with you guys. This, just like Dracula, is our second recording of our Halloween special because we fucked it up the last time.
Now
And it
you-
was
Whoa. I don't want to.
this is why we got new equipment.
Yeah.
true. So full transparency. We were testing out some equipment.
Yep.
We recorded the holiday episode. The equipment sucked ass and made us sound horrible. So when I went to go edit, I had to scrap it and be like, okay, we're going to go back and redo this because it sounds like ass. But,
Sorry.
you know, what are you going to do? No, it's cool.
I think
Laugh.
there was a cartoon where one of the characters was just a butt and his tongue would come out of the butthole. And when you said it sounded like ass, I just had a picture of it was like, yeah, he had like a lisp and there's just a tongue coming out of an asshole. It's real dark up here.
It's fine. But yeah, this is a holiday episode. We will do these on any holiday that we can. Random ones, unconventional ones. If you know of a horror movie in any genre, well, not any genre, we want it to be horror, but some weird movie, tell us about it because we already have all the holiday movies for this year pretty much settled. But tonight we will be talking about Trick or Treat, not to be confused with the, I believe the 80s movie,
Yep.
Matthew.
Yeah.
This is Trick or Treat, but still pronounced Trick or Treat, that came out in 2007, right? 2007?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes,
All right.
correct.
I did my homework a long time ago.
A few things about the movie. There is a comic. If you wanted to read that, there's a comic series.
For $300 on eBay.
No, the newest one's like $20.
Speaking of books and shit, so I stood up in a wedding this past weekend, which this past weekend from when we recorded,
Mm-hmm.
because when this comes out, this will be a few weeks later. But the gift that I will be receiving is a replica Babadook book.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was really fucking excited, and my buddy's wife was like, "Are you gonna like it?" Like, you told me, and I didn't know what the hell a Babadook was.
Is that the one with the movie?
Baba.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've literally been trying to find this fucking book, and I didn't realize some guy was like recreating them. But it's like so many have to be purchased before he makes them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So it's been purchased. I just don't know when I'll get it.
Are you gonna say it in your house? Or are you gonna be like ba ba ba
Duke, Duke.
Duke?
Yeah,
That's
usually when I
weird.
poop, I just go, "No, Duke."
I love that movie.
I like the movie quite a bit too.
It is
Actually,
pretty good.
I think we only saw it one time. So that's
No,
actually,
we saw it twice.
wow, that's a big difference.
Big 2 times.
Anyways, Trick or Treat.
Daddy! I want to carve the jack-o'-lantern out, but I need help with the eyes.
In a minute, Billy.
Trick
Yeah, we
or
probably should talk
treat.
about that movie.
Yes, we should. But before we talk about that, I actually kind of want to talk about what the movie's about. So the movie itself is about Halloween traditions. So there's 4 interwoven stories within this movie, but there's one single character that kind of infiltrates and connects them all, and his name is Sam. He's this little creature that trick-or-treats on the night of Halloween. He seems to only come out on Halloween. So Sam is just the focal point of the whole movie. He goes through each story and he represents something. But basically, Sam's job on the night of Halloween is to make sure that all Halloween traditions are followed. Now, in this story, in this little valley place in Ohio, the
Warren Valley, Ohio.
Thank you. The traditions are you must decorate, you must give out candy if you're going to be home. It seems like you should dress up. I think every single person, albeit one, dresses up for Halloween. And you just have to respect the holiday. Like, it's not over until literally the last trick-or-treater is home. So Sam basically goes through the night and enforces this also while trick-or-treating himself, which kind of leads me to my next point. So I want to talk to you guys about like your Halloween traditions. I know mine and how important they were to me and like the love of Halloween that I have, but I was interested in hearing yours. So I'll talk about mine first since I'm bringing it up. But when I was a kid, I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia. So, and in a row home. So there's houses literally just in a row. There's 20 on a block. There's a bunch. And I just remember as a kid, 20 some years ago, how much of a community thing it was to celebrate Halloween. Every house would decorate hardcore. Everybody would give out candy. I had a neighbor even who, like, when you would say trick or treat, he's like, all right, do a trick and I'll give you your piece of candy. He was the only neighbor that did that, but they all had their special things. Like, but I just remember how just involved it was. Like, there were so many kids on the street as soon as the sun was going down, and it's not like that anymore. So, like, Matt, when you were growing up, because you're a little bit older than us, like, what do you remember from trick or treating and like Halloween? Did you have any traditions or anything like that?
Back in my day,
I used to have to walk 3 miles to get my candy.
So we lived in a subdivision like just outside of town, which now that I live in the middle of goddamn nowhere means nothing.
Yeah.
But we would walk around our neighborhood, and then probably when I got to middle school, that's when we would like go to a friend's house that was like in the city, and then we would just kind of walk around their neighborhoods. And when I got into high school, like I would just drive around, like we would just go do something. Like when you stop trick or treating. So Halloween's always been like something I really enjoy doing and being involved in, and just like the time of the year, and like I like the weather a lot, and I like scary shit. Like I've always like, I don't know, just the whole concept of it just gets me just right in the jimmies. But we would, I mean, and I don't know how it was for you guys, but trick-or-treating was always on Halloween for us.
Yes.
So it was never like, I know some places they do it the Saturday before or whatever. It was always 4 to 7, the night of Halloween. So, I mean, you'd leave school and you'd go home and you'd get dressed, or you'd go meet up with your friends, and then you'd get together and go on with it. So my mom always decorated. She didn't decorate a ton, but she always
enough
had,
that you knew.
Yep, she had some sort of decorations, and we never really carved pumpkins or anything like that. But Halloween has always been very relevant, because here it's really the last holiday before it's too goddamn cold to do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan the man?
Well, we did a lot of things when I was a kid. I grew up in Hamilton Township, New Jersey. So when I was a kid, we had a lot of friends at that time. I'd say probably up until like 11, 12, we would go trick-or-treating in the community. And then also, like you were just saying, certain parts of different towns near us did do the Saturday trick-or-treating. Mm-hmm. So occasionally, sometimes I would go trick-or-treating again with my cousin Morgan. And she lived in, I guess, Bordentown, New Jersey. And then other times, as I got older, and my parents wanted to switch it up a little bit, we would go into Philadelphia with my cousins, and we'd go trick-or-treating at my grandparents' house down by Academy in the Boulevard, in that area. And we'd go trick-or-treating for hours and hours on ends. And like you said, I remember when we'd go trick-or-treating in that area, just hundreds and hundreds of kids and like near the Philadelphia area.
Oh yeah, it was always jam-packed with like people. like on the street. Like you had to like plow through people.
Yeah, I mean, I remember because the way her street, my grandmother's street was, it was like kind of like the shape of either an L or a U, the way you could describe it. And you would go up and down the middle streets. And as you're coming back towards your house, we would drop off like our pillowcases because that's what we used to carry our candy, our loot. And you would just drop it off, refill, and then keep going back up and down the streets. And I mean,
you had a
I felt like-
pillowcase.
I felt like we were out for hours and hours on end. When we were probably like only out for like an hour and a half, but it felt like 5 hours to me.
I think I always had off the next day if it was like in the middle of the week too, because I went to Catholic school, so it was All Saints Day the next day. So I think we had off too.
I feel like when I got closer to, because I went to Catholic through 8th grade. So I feel like as we got closer to 8th grade, that's when they started doing that. But you feel like the day after Halloween is the day that they would want you to go to mass twice to repent for your sins.
I don't think I've ever really went to. I mean, my family was Catholic, and going to church at those times. I don't remember going to mass.
Oh yeah, I don't remember now. I don't think we did, but you were supposed to.
Well, we had to go every Wednesday, and then I'd have to go on Sunday. Catholic dad, Lutheran mom. That's why I went to Catholic grade school, Lutheran high school. Got
Look at
confirmed Lutheran when I was 17.
Rock, man. I mean, I remember my dad would take us on like Saturday mornings, but we would
That's what cartoons are on.
Well, no, we would go specifically at 7 a.m. because the guy who did the priest, his name was, I remember this, it's like flooding back to me. His name was Father Anziano, and so Italian.
Yeah, I know, right? When he talked, did spaghetti sauce fall out of his mouth?
All but. He would, it's supposed to be an hour-long mass, and he would do it in 23 minutes. So we'd be like,
shit.
That's
boom.
fast. That's
Oh,
pretty,
yeah.
I wish I went to that.
I remember he had a great voice. Dad, if you're listening to this, remember Father Anziano. He was the shit. But yeah, I haven't gone to church in so long. Anyway,
Me neither.
I really love, I mean, obviously I love Halloween. We this is like Dan's favorite holiday is Halloween,
Oh,
bar
yeah.
none.
Our house is decorated to the max.
Mine is Christmas, but also Halloween. Like I can never decide which one I love more.
We
but-
definitely have more Tucker totes of Halloween decorations. than we do
Yeah,
Christmas.
I think
decorations.
nobody knows what a Tucker tote is except me and you.
What a Tucker tote is?
Like
you
a
know, it's
plastic
like a plastic
container.
container box. You put all your decorations.
My mom
in.
used to call them Tucker totes, but whatchamacallit? I feel like you have more stuff to do around this time. Like I know for you, Matt, like in Wisconsin, like once it gets cold, you're inside.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
You don't have haunted houses and stuff.
Oh, we have a
Yeah.
shitload.
Like we're prepping to.
Yeah, I want to go to at least one or two because I know we'll take our daughter to like on a pumpkin hayride thing.
Yeah, there was a shutdown insane asylum in this outskirts of Sheboygan where I grew up that had overnight tours. It kind of fucked the dog and didn't get tickets. But it also like kind of throws a wrench in things that we're playing a show and I'm gone for a week for work in October.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, trying
Are you
to
gonna do Halloween stuff when you're away? Like check out some. I don't know.
It's like I'm
I
on
thought
company.
about it.
Like
No, I
pumpkin
don't fuck
beers or something. You know, check out some of that type.
Well,
of
there's
stuff.
a couple of breweries I'm going to go to. I may try to find a haunted house, but once the convention starts, like I understand that I need to attend things, and then I'll have to go out. I won't
I hope
have
you
to,
go.
but I will choose to go out with vendors and stuff who are going to buy me booze.
We're gonna get like a video of just somebody chasing him with a chainsaw. Like bad idea, bad idea.
God damn it, Dan! Never should have listened to you.
I think the last time we recorded this, you were telling us about this one haunted house where they like waterboarded
Mhm.
the people.
Blackout. It's back for the first time. It's only in New York and maybe LA. They had a Chicago location for a while, but
That's not
Yeah,
fun.
that's not my style.
it's more performance art than haunted house.
Like we have a place called Shady Brook Farms, and every year
Yes.
It's
there's
so-
a theme. And my favorite one was when they were doing Beetlejuice, and everybody was dressed up like the characters. And we went there, I think, with my family when we were in like high school or so. We all went on the hayride. I think it was Charles's first. I think it was like the first time we took Charles.
Charles is his brother.
Charles
Or
is my
Charles.
brother. And I remember him being like pretty scared.
Well, yeah, I mean, when
I
you're a
think he
little
went back
kid
to
and
that
you're on a
year.
hayride, and then some guy in a mask jumps out of
Yeah,
a bush with a chainsaw that you think has a chain on it. Yeah, it's a little
yeah,
scary.
because we
No,
used
it's
to
fucking
go.
terrifying.
We used to go there like with friends and family.
We went to one 2 years ago at Shady Brook. It's usually pretty timid, but they like renovated everything. They now have like a silo in the middle of the event and all these like little campfires that you can sit at. But the silo has like they make their own wine there, and they also have now like kind of like a brewery. Would you say? Where
Yeah,
they,
it's called the Silo.
yeah, whatever.
Silo has wine, beer, everything.
There it is.
Yeah, it's got it all.
But
Apple cider.
they have 4 attractions. They have a maze, a hayride, a haunted house, and an alien encounter. And you can get tickets to go to all of them, and they like basically just like punch a card. The hayride was pretty decent. From what I remember from when I was a kid, it seemed kind of lame. Like you would just see people walking up to the tractor, and it wasn't scary. But this time they had an animatronic that was easily 20 feet tall that jumped out at you. It was a full jump scare, but it worked. Like
Got
Yeah.
her pretty
it
good.
got me great. I almost fell to the floor.
I like the alien.
Yeah, he loves the
Alien
alien
encounter.
encounter. Story time. So the alien encounter, when the time before when I'd gone with my dad, like maybe 5 years before, and it was so lame. It was not scary at all. Everything was just like kind of black lights and like neon flashing strobe lights and all this other shit. It wasn't scary. They upped their game. So you go into this building and everything, the walls are painted black, but they have like neon colored paint on it, like graffiti, and it's all in black light. So it's like really popping out. And these guys are dressed in similar outfits and they're like kind of sitting in the corner. So you can't see them and then they pop out at you. That's terrifying enough as it is.
Yeah.
So you're going through that emotional distress. But then we walk into this one room and it's super foggy. Like there's a fog line that's like literally up probably a little bit
With the lasers.
like up to my rib cage. So I'm 5'3". So
Yeah,
however
there's
you
like
want to determine
a
that.
laser cutting it right at the fog line.
Yeah. So it's pretty high up. I push Dan in front of me. I'm like, you need to go first because they keep jumping at me first because I'm ahead of everybody. You need to go first so they jump at you. As soon as he walks in ahead of me, he literally goes right below the smoke line and disappears and I can't see him. And I'm freaking out and people are jumping at me and scaring me because they don't see him anymore. So they're just like, oh, well, let's get her.
Yeah, and I actually just played a joke on her. That was my idea of fun.
Yeah, hilarious. But then they had like objects in front of you, so like you had to walk around them. And I slammed my legs because I was trying to run out of the room as fast
It's
as
like
possible.
a big cube.
It was a huge cube, and it like sliced my shins.
And then she's hopping around on one foot, and I finally grab her, like, "Are you coming? Like, let's go. We gotta get to the next
I was
room."
like, are you fucking kidding
And
me?
then the next room was about the end, and that's
Yeah,
what even scared you even more.
Yeah, because the next room is literally just like really tight hallways that like they're just super.
Keeps getting thinner and thinner.
Yeah, and
and-
people are in there grabbing at you and shit.
Yeah, and they mess with you too. Like they'll make the room like you're walking downhill and you don't really realize it, and then
Yeah.
so, like you can't really back up. It forces you to keep walking downhill.
Yeah, that was probably. But even though like
And then the exit was probably what made you really claustrophobic. Was the big balloons?
oh
on the
yeah,
side of there.
so you get to this one portion and you kind of have to like push through like a wall type deal that
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
like
it's
just
kind
forms
of,
to your body. It's like a huge mattress that you can squeeze
and there's just
through.
like a slit, and like you have to walk through it, and it just pushes and pushes on you. And so we just kind of like you walk as fast as you can to get through this thing, and she's like freaking out.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm claustrophobic enough as it is.
Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was the alien encounter.
I enjoyed it, but yeah, I mean, those are pretty much our Halloween traditions. Now that we have a kid, we've given out candy, but this year we're kind of taking a break from it. But we carve pumpkins every year. We decorate the house. We would make Sam pretty happy.
We
Do you
make,
decorate your house at all or no?
I don't decorate my house or anything.
You
Really?
are. You
No
don't even
Christmas tree or
Our Christmas tree is like 6 inches tall. Yeah. I just don't like decorating. I think it looks cool, but I do not want to put forth the effort to do it.
I'm gonna fly out and I'm gonna decorate your house for Christmas because it gives me so much joy.
Okay, then you can take it all down.
Does Alyssa decorate?
No. If I don't do it, she won't do it.
We're gonna send you a care package of like
Decorations.
decoration.
I'm going to burn it.
Don't you dare.
It's not that I think decorating is dumb or stupid or I don't like doing it.
Humbug.
No, it's not that at all. I don't want to do it.
I hear.
Like, when I was a kid, it was never a thing for all of us to sit down and like to decorate the Christmas tree. Like the day that on Black Friday, my mom would just do it because if we didn't do it correctly.
That's
so
what
she
I
would do it.
do.
Yeah. So, but my parents have like they had like a 12-foot Christmas tree and now it's down to 8 because they're older.
Well, for me, we switch, when she'll be like, go get all the boxes of the decorations. That takes like 4 days just to get them out of the attic.
Right. Well, we'll have to
And
save
then-
this for the Christmas episode.
And, okay,
This is all decorations because
Okay.
even Halloween.
and we just start. One day we just start.
Yep. I
Decorating.
love it. But now that we kind of talked about like our traditions and stuff, we can kind of get into the movie and have a little bit more of an appreciation for it. Now, like I said, this movie has 4 interwoven stories in it. And I'll try to tell them, and you guys can help me work your way through these because if you obviously you've seen the movie if you're listening to this, but
That's a
It
bold
jumps.
assumption.
If
you
you
should watch it.
if you haven't, once you're done listening,
Then go watch it. Yeah.
go watch.
It's going to be much more enjoyable if you've
Well,
watched it already.
Like many storylines, it jumps around a lot. So it will start off with the storyline, and it doesn't really finish, but it intertwines
Intertwines. Yeah.
with all 4 of them just to get to the ending.
Yeah, so it
It's-
starts with that couple coming home from a party, and the wife wants to start undecorating, and the husband wants to lay pipe.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he
Hardcore.
does. And she tells him to go upstairs and get the movie ready.
Weird.
Yeah, which is a
So-
pornography film.
Yeah, which
Right up Matt's alley.
Yeah,
which is
I
a
was
little
really
odd.
into this part of the movie.
That
Like-
1 minute of bouncing boob.
Hey, man. I'm an
Was that
easy,
the only
easy
boob
guy to
shot?
please.
No, there's a couple
No,
boob
there's-
shots.
Yeah, there's a lot of booby later.
Matt's
So-
second favorite part.
Act
Why-
4 booby.
While that's happening, she's going down and she starts to undecorate the front yard.
Yeah, so basically,
Which-
this chick is completely anti-Halloween. They live in this town where Halloween is a huge staple, which is like the dream town where I want to live.
Yeah.
She goes at like the request of her husband to the town party, and they both get really drunk. And she comes home and she's just like, "Look, I'm blowing out this pumpkin because there's like a candle lit in her jack-o'-lantern." And her husband's like, "No, don't do that." And they're being watched by an unknown person while they're having kind of this little tiff. And she's like, "Halloween's over. Get over it. We're taking down all the decorations, blah, 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 blah." Which, first of all, what fucking asshole takes down their decorations literally at not like 10 o'clock on Halloween night?
Right.
Nobody.
A bitch.
Fuck.
That would have pissed me off. Like immediately, I would have been really like annoyed. Okay, first of all, they decorated to the gills.
Yeah.
Why would you go that hardcore if
And
you didn't like it that much? Like,
I
why?
doubt she did the decorations too.
Well, yeah, no,
if she's
her
feeling
husband
this way.
definitely did.
But if her husband decorated, why would she all of a sudden decide that she was going to undecorate?
exactly.
De-decorate?
I mean, undecorate.
Is it
Yeah.
undecorate or is it de-decorate?
It can be whatever you want it to be.
Both don't make sense. Let's go on.
So, like they said, they kind of stew about it for a little bit, and then the husband decides, like, they both decide actually that they want a bone, but she still wants to undecorate, de-decorate.
No
Now I'm
decorate?
Take
questioning
shit
myself.
down.
Remove the
Oh, I was
decorations.
just about to say that.
Because apparently her mom's coming to their house the next day, and her mom won't like seeing all that. So she starts taking down these ghosts that are on these stakes. They're kind of like scarecrow type ghosts. And she sees this kid like staring at her from across the street. He's wearing like a white mask and like a black hoodie. And she thinks it's super creepy. Like for a brief moment, she sees kids trick-or-treating, like the stragglers, the last ones of the night. And she smiles, and she's just, for a brief second, you kind of think like, okay, maybe she doesn't hate Halloween as much. Maybe she just doesn't like the cheesiness of some aspects of it. But, you know, that childlike excitement of trick-or-treating with your friends and getting free candy is just kind of, you know, it brings to a normal human, unlike you two, maybe, it brings joy to the heart.
Joy to the world.
It's
God,
too
don't do
fucking
that.
early for Christmas music. You stop that.
So she sees this kid staring at her, but she realizes that he's just waiting for a ride, and like he probably wasn't even looking at her, that the mask was just kind of looking.
In
Off.
her general direction.
Yeah, exactly. So she's still pulling down like the 15 ghosts that she has in her yard, and she pulls down one and it gets attacked by this tiny little person. You think it's about the size of a child. She's getting like the shit beat out of her and she's screaming. Her husband's passed out upstairs, and then they eventually fall out of her yard onto the pavement, and this person has a half-eaten lollipop. He takes it and he slices her throat, and she is dead. Full on dead. I mean, yeah, you don't fuck with Halloween. Her husband hears kind of like the scuffle, and he comes out to see what's going on, and he notices that
The decorations in the tree,
yes,
which are
limbs,
severed
limbs.
kind of looking like zombie parts and other things. And you kind of noticed that, was it her hand that was showing first?
Yes, hand and a leg.
Hand and a leg. And he's like, oh, that's kind of odd. And then he goes back and there's one ghost that's left?
No, there's still a
take
bunch of
down?
ghosts left, but this one is illuminated different than the others. It has like an orange leg on it. So he goes and pulls it off, and his wife's severed head is on the stake with a giant lollipop shoved in her mouth. And then a very cool credit scene begins. It's like a comic book theme type deal. It's like all these drawings. You see Sam, who they never name in the movie. You only know it like by credits.
Oh, it's in the comic.
Well, yeah, it's in the comic, but if you're
Right.
just watching the movie, they never say like, "Oh, there's Sam," because Sam is literally a representation.
Representation.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Of Salmon. I'm gonna mispronounce that. Don't
Sam
come for
Hain.
me. Don't come for me.
Sam Hain.
It's basically
Sam Hain.
I heard you.
Can you please say it? Say it correctly.
It's not. It's
Salmon.
not salmon.
It's not what?
Say it again.
Sam Hain.
Sam Hain.
Yep.
Is that what it really is? Or are you just fucking with me?
No. So Sam Hain. I gotta look it up. Well, I'm spelling it wrong. That's part of it.
Isn't
Sam
it
Hain is
SAM?
SAMHAIN. I was doing HEIN. Samhain is a Gaelic festival marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter or the darker half of the year. Traditionally celebrated from October 31st to November 1st as the Celtic Day began and ended at sunset. Samhain is also a band that I believe Danzig was in. Samhain band.
Is that a metal band?
Oh boy.
What type of band are we talking here?
Glenn Danzig was the
Christian
singer of
rock?
the Misfits at first. How do you not know these people? God damn it, Dan.
Be gentle with him.
Yeah, it was a rock band. I didn't care for it. It was like more of a punk band than anything. But
Yeah.
the rap group Twisted also had a lot of stuff referencing Sam Hain. But yeah, Sam Hain, the punk band, would be more notable because of Danzig, who then went on to be in the Misfits. And then Glenn Danzig, and he also hates his neighbor Todd and has cats. If
Vital
none of that
information.
makes sense to you, Google it because it's hilarious.
Okay.
Moving on.
So then the movie starts with you see just kids trick-or-treating. Now, this movie is sort of out of sequence at times, but I'm going to try and tell one story at a time. So the first story I'm going to tell is the principal. So what we see is a kid going up and down the streets, being a dick. He's pushing over pumpkins and smashing them. He's just shoving his face filled with chocolate, and he has a shirt on that literally just says, "This is my Halloween costume," which I am of the belief that if you're going to be that blatant about it, you are a douchebag and you don't deserve candy. You should have some sort of costume on. That's just me. But whatever.
I need to append my Sam Hain rant here real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Danzig was in the Misfits before Sam Hain. Because I don't want someone to add.
Come for you
Yes.
at Monster Madness Pod. You're fucking wrong.
Someone out there is going to know Misfits horror punk trivia better
It's
than
bound
me.
to happen.
So getting back to it now that you have corrected yourself,
Sorry.
yeah, you're fine. I understand how the internet works.
Don't make any more mistakes.
You must be perfect from here until season 72. So you see this kid and he's just basically messing with a bunch of stuff. And he goes up to this house that's no one's home at the time. They left out a bowl of candy that says, "Please take one." And naturally, this little fuck takes fistfuls of candy and he's trying to steal it. But the man who lives at this home sees him and he confronts him about it and says, like, "That's not going to be good for your diabetes there, whatever."
Fat boy.
He is a little pudgy. And so he's like, oh, come and sit with me and we'll talk. Now, this guy is the principal of the local school, which you find out later, and everybody knows him, yada, yada, yada. He seems kind of dorky. He has like a pocket protector type deal. He's wearing a tie and a button down, and it's nighttime. Like he's not in any type of relaxed clothes. Like he seems kind of uptight. So he's sitting and talking with this kid on his stoop. And he said he had to go out for knives to help finish carving his pumpkin. So the kid's really uncomfortable as he's eating the candy that this guy had in his bowl. And the principal starts talking about Halloween traditions and how he used to be like this kid. He had no respect for the dead and he had no respect for what Halloween represented, which to him, it was the night where the veil was the thinnest between the worlds, basically like the undead world and like the world of the living. And that his father whipped him into shape and taught him the respect that he needed to know. So as he's saying this to the kid starts to get cracking open another. Which one's that?
It's called Tinkerer Series 3 from the Brewing Project in Eau Claire.
Ew.
Ooh.
So the kid starts... You literally are the Antichrist.
I'm done now, I swear.
That's
I really won't do it again. Sorry.
No, you have to stop saying sorry. My God, I know you're
Oops,
joking.
Oops.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. He starts to get sick. He looks like I'm looking at you. You have
I'm pouring really slow because I'm trying to not overflow.
You gotta tip it, man.
You
Well,
gotta
I'm
put the
Tip
glass
it.
in the angle.
it's like almost full. I'm just waiting for the head to subside.
That's what she said. Laughed at my own joke.
Haha.
Whatever. I'm always crickets on this fucking show. No one likes me.
There were crickets in our last
Dan
I know,
likes you.
one of the last.
That's because he's by law obligated to.
Yeah,
at
you
this
guys
point.
are legally roommates.
Yeah, true. So, whatchamacallit? The kid starts to get sick, and the guy turns to him and basically says, you forgot one rule of like Halloween. You didn't check your candy. And the kid starts like projectile vomiting. It looks like pure chocolate.
I thought it was like blood.
Well,
no,
it turns into blood. Yeah.
It turns into blood. So, to kind of fast track this,
Yep.
he poisoned the fucking kid. The guy is a serial killer. He's evil, and that is like his whole shtick. He
Drags him inside.
Yeah, he drags him inside. And the kid, I mean, it's pretty funny. The kid is still vomiting like all over him. He gets blood all down his shoulder and all this other stuff. And it's just like a complete mess. And you can tell that he didn't expect it to be as big of a disaster as it was. And so he comes inside and he takes the kid somewhere into his house and drops him. Then trick-or-treaters come up to his door and are just pounding. They're like, we know you're in there. We know you're in there. Open the door. Give us candy. And he opens the door, and it's these three little kids that are actually involved in the second story of the night. They ask him,
They say, hi, principal.
yeah, hi, principal, whatever his name is.
Hi,
And-
Super Nintendo Chalmers.
What does it mean to be all in? It means you're confident you're doing the right thing. You commit to it. For Dominion Energy, we're all in on helping the environment. We're all in on clean energy, all in on solar, all in on building the nation's largest offshore wind farm. We're even capturing the methane from local farms to create renewable natural gas. We're not doing it because it's the easy thing to do, but because it's the right thing to do. For your family and friends, your neighbors and your community, for the future, for our planet. Dominion Energy. Actions speak louder.
I love it. So they get their candy from him, and then they ask if they can take his pumpkin, and he just inquires if they're going to smash it, and they're like, no, it's for a scavenger hunt for UNICEF. And he's like, oh, as long as it's for a good cause, take it. And as they scatter, you see this little kid with a very sphere-like head wearing an orange, it looks like a onesie and a burlap sack over his head, and he grabs a full-size piece of candy, and that's actually the first time you see Sam in the full flesh. That's when you see him for the very first time, and he scatters off, and you think that he's with these little kids, but he's actually just out and about trick-or-treating, making sure everybody's following the rules. So this principal guy, the next time we see him, he's in his backyard. He's digging a grave, and his son comes home from trick-or-treating and starts shouting at him like, Daddy, I'm home from trick-or-treating. Come on, let's carve the jack-o'-lantern. You need to help me with the eyes. That's the big thing that he keeps saying, is that he needs help carving the eyes of his jack-o'-lantern. And this kid can full on see that he's standing in a grave.
What's his son? His son's name's Billy, right?
Billy, yes.
He's like, Billy, be right in there.
Yeah, because he's like, go inside, watch Charlie Brown. He's like, Charlie Brown is an asshole. I love it. I wish that was my kid.
And the neighbor's yelling at him too.
Yeah, the neighbor, Mr. Krieg, who is part 4 of the story, he comes out because his dog is out back barking at the principal. The principal takes off a decomposing finger and tosses it to the dog to shut him up so nobody can bother him. Krieg comes out and starts saying, like, Wilkins, is that you? Like, it smells like death out here. I think he actually says a whore's ass, which is pretty
Sorry.
No,
I really like that one.
I'm pretty sure he's like, it smells like a whore's ass out here, which I'm like, Jesus Christ. He basically is like asking what he's doing. He's like, oh, my septic tank's acting up. I'm trying to fix it. And as he's talking to him, whoever is in the grave with him is trying to like fight and get out. And you can tell that it's a different kid than the one that he just poisoned because this kid's wearing a clown costume. So he starts like beating the kid to death with the shovel once Krieg goes in. Krieg starts yelling about keep his kid out of his yard, blah, 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 blah. And you know, Wilkins is like, oh, well, happy Halloween. And Krieg's like, yeah, screw you. He's a Crouch. He doesn't decorate for Halloween. He doesn't care about it. He doesn't want to be any part of it whatsoever. So eventually, Wilkins goes back into his house and his son spooks him. And he's like, come on, let's carve the jack-o'-lantern. Like, come help me with the eyes. They go downstairs and you think that Principal Wilkins is going to kill his son because the way he's holding the knife and the way looks like he's about to plunge into his son's head. Pretty much. When he makes the motion, you hear the sound of the knife going into something like human flesh. But what it turns out to be is actually the kid that he poisoned with the candy. He has decapitated him at this point, and him and his son are carving him like a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, and he's like, you're gonna help me with the eyes now?
Yep. Don't forget to help me with the eyes.
That was fucking creepy and terrifying.
Yeah. So what you can kind of surmise is that the whole tradition of this family is to kill. Now, whether it's like they kill just on Halloween or they're just serial killers all year round, but it seems like Halloween is like their big ticket year because, you know, he poisons kids with candy. He kills multiple kids just randomly. And he's teaching his son to do the same thing. They talk about the grandfather earlier as well. Mm-hmm. How, you know, grandpa showed me how to do this, blah, 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 blah. So it seems like it's like a family thing. So that's pretty much story one. Principal Wilkins does play a role in our next story, but not until the very end. So our next story is The Four Girls. Now, do one of you want to take that one for a spin?
Boobs.
That's why I figured you'd want to do it, because it has boobs. Do it. All you, man.
You had to ask me that question when I was mid-drink, but
I did.
So there's some ladies. So there's True Blood.
Anna Paquin.
Yeah, thank you. And she's clearly like the pussiest of the pussies.
What does that even mean?
It means nothing. So she seems very standoffish in these other girls. Where there's 4 total. 3 are hellbent on getting pee-pee in their VVs.
Yeah, they kind of talk about how they're virgins. So they kind of
Anna Paquin is allegedly a virgin, quote unquote, air quotes.
It starts out because they're out picking out their Halloween costumes. Yes. And they're like, do you really think they're going to like this? Somebody's going to like this?
Yes, this is their Halloween tradition. They go to a town each year or an event and they get costumes the night of. They go and find dates to hook up with, allegedly. Anna Paquin has never succeeded in this.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally pick out their costumes, and
which is princesses.
Which are princesses, and she is the Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes.
But she has like the least, so they're all wearing like slutty versions of their princesses, and hers is a very modest version until later.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, so they go to a party and find a couple guys and say, hey man, let's go do some tip drills in the woods. I'm making this as quick as possible. But so then they take him into the woods, and at some point one of the other girls says, hey True Blood, whip them titties out. So they adjust her costume so that she is more chestacular. And then I don't remember if anything happens. Oh, they doesn't the principal shows up?
This is where the principal shows up again. So basically, Anna Paquin is on her own. I'm just taking over again.
True Blood.
True Blood. Suke. I fucking love that show. She is basically on her own. Her other friends, and one of them is her sister, have found dates. They're in the woods. They're partying. They're drinking. They keep trying to lure her there. They're like, look, we found a guy for you. And he's like this kind of grotesque man baby that is really creepy
was
creeped
me?
me out.
Like a man baby.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
was
she
dressed.
said.
He was a man dressed as a baby.
God, guys, I
But-
can't even make fun of myself. Fuck.
Oh,
You missed
I
it.
thought you legitimately thought I
thought-
said that.
Calling myself a grotesque man baby, and none of you are
No,
paying attention.
But in the
You're not,
meantime,
you're not far
while
off.
she's waiting,
Yeah.
she finally finds a date.
Well,
Kind of.
no, not really. She keeps looking at different people, but like they either are with someone or they're not interested in her, or blah, 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 it's not her type. It's not what she wants. She wants her quote unquote first time to be special. But then she starts noticing that someone is stalking her. Now, in a scene earlier, we see this masked figure, which we believe to be a vampire, feeding on people at the town party, because this is where this scene is at the town party. And he kills a girl by biting her neck and like her arms and like basically anywhere where there's like a major artery or vein. And he spots Suke, and she walks into the woods. You're assuming going to what are you laughing at?
Just you.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. That was like a 5-second delay from laughing.
It took me a while, all right?
She's walking into the woods and she knows that someone's following her. It's that kind of like feeling that you're being watched. And this guy comes up to her and slams her against a tree and starts to bite her neck. The next thing we see is the group of girls at the bonfire in the woods at the party, and this body flies through the air and falls through the trees, and it's in the Little Red Riding Hood. So it's like draped in the red hood. And you think it's Anna Paquin's character, and it turns out it's actually who you think is a vampire. And she comes in through the woods and she has like blood on her neck, and they're like, what the hell happened? She's like, I played hard to get, like you guys told me to, and he bit me, so now I'm cut, but it's okay, I've got my guy. Basically, they take off his mask and it turns out it's Principal Wilkins. So not only does he kill kids, he poisons Candy, he teaches his son to be a psychopath, he's also has the time tonight to go about in a mask and bite chicks, which, if not my bag, but to each their own. It just,
I mean, at first they
It's a
kind of
little
make him look like a younger man.
well, yeah, because
'Cause of
like
the
literally the
mask.
mask goes down to the top of his lip, and he has like fake incisors in, and they rip them out. So you realize, okay, he wasn't a vampire. He's just some creepy dude who's literally drinking human blood, but let's not get into that. And Anna Paquin,
True Blood.
True Blood, Suke. This whole scene starts to kind of unfold. It's kind of like the first time you hear like a soundtrack in this whole movie. It's Marilyn Manson, Sweet Dreams,
Yep.
I believe. I thought it was Tainted Love for a second, but no, it's Sweet Dreams. And there's like this very sensual dancing around the fire, and Anna Paquin is straddling the Principal Wilkins, and he's just like, what the hell is going on? Like his leg is like very broken. He can't really move. He's
Pinned down.
Yeah, he's pinned down. And all of a sudden these girls start shifting, and it's probably one of the coolest transformation scenes of like a werewolf that I've seen. Like I thought it was really unique. They start ripping off their flesh in like huge chunks, and they turn it. Sorry,
It was kind of. I didn't really appreciate it either.
It
Yeah, I
looked
haven't-
very fake, though.
It did,
Yeah.
but like the concept of it,
It's like
I liked
bodysuits.
it.
That's
And
what-
then basically you realize that all these girls are a like coven of werewolves, and this is what they do. They pick up guys to eat. And Anna Paquin had never done it before, and Principal Wilkins, he got eaten big time. And that's story 2 of this movie.
Now, do you find it a coincidence that Little Red Riding Hood turned into the wolf?
I mean, that's the whole point, Daniel.
Okay, just wondering.
God, Daniel. I actually did not even put 2 and 2 together.
See, somebody didn't do
I
it.
wonder if the writers realized what they did.
Wait. You guys think they did this on purpose?
Way.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
Possibly.
Oh, no.
So the third story, since either one of you are just not good at this. So the third story is
Wow.
the third story is the children, the ones that took the pumpkin from Principal Wilkins. So these kids have a really horrible night planned. They are going to play a practical joke on.
The town. What do they call her? The town retard?
Whoa.
They call her.
They call her something
They
like
do
that?
call
They
her
think
that. They do call her
Even
the Big
though
R.
The
she
big R.
is
Damn
a
it.
nice young girl.
Yeah, no, they call
It's
her
just
an
really-
idiot savant. Like she's very intelligent, but she's just socially awkward. So naturally, because kids are fucking assholes,
Mhm.
they're super mean to her. So
Her
oh my
house
God,
was
what is her name?
Her house was decked to the T too, with pumpkins that she carved all by herself.
Mhm.
Yeah, so all the kids come to their house to pick up this girl, and they say, we need to take a pumpkin with us. So she picks up one of the jack-o'-lanterns, and they start walking down the street. And during
Rhonda.
There you go.
God.
So her name is
It's bugging
Rhonda,
me.
for anybody that wanted to know.
Rhonda. So Rhonda, like I was saying, well, as Dan was trying to save me because I could not remember her name for the life of me. Thank you, babe.
Yep. Gotcha.
Sorry, I said the B word.
Yep. That is the worst word in the world.
It's okay, boo.
I don't mind that one. It's just that when people are like, oh, what's up, babe? Hi, babe. 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 It drives me nuts. I don't know why.
Do you not have pet names for?
Ooh, wonder what his are.
I call Alyssa
Say that for-
my roommate. What's her face? No, it's usually, if anything, I will call her sweetheart. But babe or honey doesn't really get said. Hey, you happens a lot. She doesn't call me pet names. I don't really call her pet names.
No, we've always been babe.
No, she doesn't like honey, so I can't call her that.
Yeah, no, that never really flew with us. either,
Snuggle
but
tits.
That's nice.
Sugar ass.
I like that one.
The more pet names I call her are like weird and derogatory. Boo boo kitty fuck. I'm sure I've called her that once or twice, but I generally will refer to her as my roommate.
That's sweet. I think when I first
Sure.
when I first met you and was like talking to you, and you would refer to her as your roommate, I'm like, wait, is he married?
I mean, technically, she
everybody
is my
into it.
roommate.
No, you're 100% right. But like
Yeah.
I didn't want to be like, are you guys like married or are you just living together? Like, is she your friend? Like, I don't know. Cause like we didn't really know each other at the time because we were just like, oh yeah, come on my podcast. And
Yeah,
we'll, like,
yeah,
chit-chat. And you're like, oh yeah, my roommate. And I'm like, oh, I guess he just lives with like a girl. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, she could be my friend with benefits too.
True. FOB.
My spouse with benefits.
FWB. What the fuck? I can't even spell. Anyway.
Whoop.
Fub.
Fub.
So Rhonda loves carving pumpkins. She is obsessed with the history behind Halloween. It's very important to her. And these kids, Macy, Schrader, and two other kids whose names aren't relevant, they come to her house and they basically ask her if she wants to like hang out with them that night. So they're collecting a bunch of pumpkins. They have to collect 9, and they're going to the town quarry. Wow, there's this whole history with this town quarry. 30 years ago, these kids that had special needs, their parents got really just overwhelmed with them. So they paid a bus driver. It's fucking terrible. They paid a bus driver that drove them out of town to their school to basically take care of them.
Do you think they're normally handcuffed on the bus? Or
yeah, that seemed like a normal thing. Like you see them and they're handcuffed in the bus because it seems like some of them maybe would have violent outbursts, so maybe it was just to secure them.
Okay.
Either way, it's terrible. It's not right.
Yeah.
It's not humane.
Not at
but this guy, the bus driver, takes them to the quarry and he starts giving them like a single piece of candy for Halloween because it's Halloween that this all occurs. They're all dressed in costumes, but the one kid notices that they're going the wrong way and it's really bothering him. It's out of his routine. It's not okay for him. And as this bus driver's at the back of the bus, this kid breaks from his trains and he goes to the front of the bus and puts it in drive, and they go over in the quarry. They crash. All the kids drown, but the bus driver makes it out and he has a bunch of lacerations to his face. So basically, these kids are coming back to the quarry 30 years later to give 9 pumpkin offerings in representation of the kids that drowned that night. So 3 of the kids go down this very unsafe looking elevator to the bottom of the quarry. And Rhonda and this kid who's dressed up as a pirate are up there and they're just kind of chit-chatting. And as they're up there, they see that each pumpkin, the light is getting sussed out and they're starting to scream and all this other stuff. And they're like descending in the shaft as well. So when they get to the bottom, are you laughing at the word shaft?
Yes.
God, you are 12 years old. I fucking know you so well. Once they get to the bottom, Rhonda's like, hold on to this pumpkin, the light will protect you. So like that's another whole going back to the tradition things that the light of a jack-o'-lantern will protect you from the evils at night. she goes out and she can't find anybody, but then these zombie kids come out of like the mud and start chasing her. She runs and eventually falls and hits her head on like a rock and gets knocked out. You realize it's that these little assholes playing a trick, just trying to scare her. The one kid named Schrader, who's like the cute kid of the grade, I would assume, genuinely seems to feel bad and is like, okay, we took it too far. Like, this girl was like really nice and we did a really shitty thing. So he's just trying to make it right. So he stays with her. But then as they're still down there, something happens and it awakens the spirits of the kids that actually did die 30 years prior, and they start attacking everybody. Now, Rhonda at some point gets into the elevator shaft, locks the door, and they all, after they had just played this terrible trick on her, are like, Rhonda, please let us in. It's real. This is real. This isn't a joke. And she just hits up on that elevator and goes straight up to the top.
And then the other kids,
They get
attacked.
Oh, yeah. They get
Eaten, probably killed.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. They
Definitely
get killed.
dead.
They're definitely dead. And in each of these stories, I forgot to mention, like, in the werewolves, Sam was at the bonfire in the distance. Like, you see him sitting at the bonfire eating candy. In this, as Rhonda comes up to the top of the elevator and she walks out, you see Sam kind of just meandering by the quarry. Like, he's kind of just seeing what's going on. And because Rhonda has a wheelbarrow filled with lit jack-o'-lanterns, he's just like, you're cool. You're fine. Totally solid. And he goes about his way. Now, the last story is Mr. Krieg, and this probably has to be my favorite out of the whole thing. Mr. Krieg is the crotchety neighbor of Principal Wilkins. He hates Halloween. He wants no part of it. He doesn't decorate. He's a prick. The only thing that he does is that he puts a little costume on his dog, so when people bug him at night, his dog comes out and just like rabidly barks at them and just like scares the shit out of them. And he gets like some sick enjoyment out of that. So Krieg is sitting in his recliner. He took a bite of candy and he hated it, and he puts it on his little TV tray. He's watching TV, but then he's like hearing stuff. Eventually his house gets egged and he thinks it's the next door neighbor's son being a dick, like egging his house, but it's not. Then the whole interaction between Principal Wilkins happens, where he goes outside and yells at him. And the next we see is Krieg going into his house, shutting the door, basically telling Wilkins to like screw off, because he doesn't want to have any interactions with anybody. He's just that one asshole that every neighborhood has that just doesn't give a fuck and wants to die in peace and hates everybody. But whatever. So while he's in his house, Krieg hears something in his like upstairs bedroom. So he goes upstairs to see what's going on, and he sees in his bed something moving, and he pulls back his sheets, and it's a mummy hand. It's like a mechanical little mummy hand that is like a wind-up toy. And then all of a sudden, his ankle gets sliced with a razor blade. Yep. And he falls like anybody would to the ground and is screaming. Now, he's armed with a full-on shotgun. And what we see is Sam is in his bedroom, and he's about to kick his ass, basically, and murder him really painfully, because Krieg has not followed a single Halloween rule whatsoever. So Krieg has to pay for that, just like everybody else has who hasn't followed the Halloween traditions. So Krieg goes to shoot him, and Sam disappears. So he makes his way out of the room, and he falls down his flight of steps, and it's riddled with needles, razor blades, candy, broken glass. And on his way down, Krieg gets cut to shit, like completely mauled. And you keep hearing movement all around, so you know Sam is near. Krieg tries to get out of his front door, and Sam jumps on top of him from the ceiling and just starts pounding the shit out of him, beating him. Krieg eventually gets to shoot Sam, and he hits him right in like the gut, and Sam kind of explodes with like pumpkin innards that you would see if you're carving a pumpkin, and like seeds and stuff like that. And just like anybody would, I think, in an actual situation of attack, you don't just like kind of shoot and then, okay, I got him, I'm done. No, you unload in that fucker.
Yeah.
So Krieg shoots Sam again and actually blows off his hand. So now he has like his gut is exposed, his hands off, and also the burlap sack that was covering his face is off. So you see Sam for what he is, and he looks kind of like this dried out pumpkin, sort of.
As a head, like a old jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, an old jack-o'-lantern that's like really like weathered and wilted. So Krieg goes to dial 911, but the phone line's been cut. and he hears something maneuvering. And at some point, he gets cut or injured again, and he falls to the ground, and he sees very much like Thing from from the Addams Family crawling around, and it's Sam's hand. And he says probably the funniest line in the whole movie, which would probably be what anybody thinks, like if they were in this situation. He's just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
As this hand's like moving all around the house, and then eventually reattaches himself to Sam. So Sam, I would assume, is kind of immortal because he's more of like a spirit than any, like he's the spirit of Halloween and all of its traditions. So he can't die easily. So we don't know. He could possibly be able to die, but just not by a shotgun. So eventually Sam is slowly walking towards Krieg, and he's biting this huge jack-o'-lantern lollipop. And Krieg's trying to find any weapon that he can to defend himself, and he knocks his tray of food on him. And on that is the candy bar that he had bitten into. Sam goes to stab Krieg with this lollipop, and it lands in the candy bar. And Sam sees that. He takes the candy, takes a bite of it, and then just leaves. Because that's all Sam wanted, was for Krieg to give him a piece of candy and to follow through with one tradition. And that's almost the end of the story. I forgot one part. So Krieg, it must be a few hours later. Krieg is all bandaged up because he's got the shit kicked out of him because Sam leaves, but he's not far. He's giving out candy or whatever candy he does have in his house, which is probably like these old, nasty, like lozenges. Lozenges? What is that fucking word?
Lozenges.
Thank you. It was difficult.
Mints.
I should have just said fucking mints. He's giving out candy. He shuts his door. And then he gets a knock immediately again. He opens the door, and all of the kids from the bus crash are standing there. And what you realize is that Krieg is the bus driver that tried to kill them 30 years ago, and they've come to exact their revenge on him. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. Now, if you watch the movie, it's a lot better than that explanation because all these stories are interwoven, and it's put out there for you to see it in a way you're supposed to see it.
In the credits too, they show the picture of the bus driver.
Yeah, they like the last scene is like because Krieg at one point throws photos in the fire, and one of the photos is of him on that Halloween with the kids on the bus, like before they left for the day.
Yeah,
but that's Trick or Treat. It's a great movie. It's better to watch it than listen to me explain it and these two assholes to make fun of me trying to explain it.
Yeah, and there's supposed to be a sequel too in the near future.
Yeah, Trick or Treat 2, hopefully eventually.
It comes out.
They haven't said anything in the last 2 years, so it's 2019 now.
They did some of the comics, so there's a few comics after that have been recently put out since the movie.
Yeah.
So the movie should be following maybe in some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's in a different town. I hope it's in a different area type deal, and I hope it's like interwoven like the same way. But it was a great movie. Because this is a holiday special, we're not going to do Questions of the Damned, but we are going to do Are We Recommending This Movie or Not? So we're going to go to the very end of what we normally do. Would we recommend this movie to you or not? And for me, this is a full-blown recommend.
Never would
all
have guessed.
around. You know, I am very easy.
You like this movie?
I love this movie. Despite the fact that I kind of butchered my explanation of it, I think it was a great movie. It's one of those movies that you can put on in the background and always find something new in it. So like, if you pay attention, so the candy bar that Sam uses to slice Krieg with, because his razor blade is a candy bar with a razor blade in it, which is one of those like Halloween myths that, you know, happen to children, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. He actually got that candy bar from Principal Wilkins. If you pay attention to when you see inside of his house, he has like a whole table where there's like candy bars that are half cut with razor blades sitting near them. So like that was a weapon that he gave to Sam unintentionally. So it's kind of like those weird little things. There's a billion things. Like every time you watch this movie, you catch something new. So for me, it's a recommend all around, especially for Halloween. What about you guys?
For me, it is also a recommend. I do like this movie a lot. Some of the things that you said are true. Like you do watch it and multiple things come out. So for me, it took a while for me to realize that the vampire was the principal. I didn't really realize that until probably my third time.
Yeah,
of
his
watching
third watch,
that.
he's like, wait, it's the principal?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, I didn't catch that.
He is not quick on the uptake. It's okay, though. We love him anyway.
I'll get there. But I would recommend this movie. It is something I do like around the holiday time, something building up to Halloween. So I'd recommend this. How about you, Matt?
I would definitely recommend it. It's good.
And Matt rarely says that about anything.
Yeah, I hate a lot of things.
You really do.
My life motto is hate early, hate often.
That's not healthy.
It's not unhealthy. If you set the bar low, there's really only one way to go.
You're not wrong.
Exactly.
You're not wrong.
So another thing that friend of the show, Seth Wolf, said is you can't complain about quoting me by saying it's not wrong, is if you just say, as Matt says, you're not wrong.
True. I'm going to start
That's
doing
why I
that.
said it.
There you go.
Before we end this episode, I do want to give a quick shout out to our also friend of the show, Linda, who gave us our first 5-star review. Linda, you did this a couple weeks ago, but because you are in Canada, I did not see it.
Oh.
Oh,
Eh?
thank you.
Yeah.
I hope she's
Linda-
eating poutine.
Linda, at us at Monster Mad Pod, if you even like poutine. But Linda has been a supporter of mine since, God, I think day one. I can't remember a time without Linda, to be honest, but she's awesome. She's been such a force that has always like kind of lit a fire. She's always positive. She's awesome. She listens to anything that I put out. She's a big fan of the Apex and the Abyss, and she is a listener of Monster Madness, one of the first.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, we just want to thank you
Linda.
for giving us that 5-star. We really appreciate it. You're the best, Linda. And I hope you enjoy this little shout out.
Charlie Brown's an asshole.
And with that, we're going to end the show. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have merch on tpublic.com. We also have a Patreon. Dan, if you are on Patreon, actually, you can watch the videos for as little as $5 a month. You can watch...
What the fuck? I just realized you're rubbing his titty.
If you're on Patreon,
Oh, wow.
for little as $5 a month, you can watch the video recordings and you can watch me caress my husband's chest. I was doing it because he's actually wearing a Monster Madness shirt
A
right now.
nice green,
It's really soft.
They're
Really
terrific.
nice.
soft
They are.
t-shirt.
Yeah, Matt never wears this,
Fits
though.
me quite well.
I do. I just don't wear it while we record.
You need to, you son of a bitch.
Are you wearing one while we record?
She's wearing.
No, I thought that'd be too cheesy, but I am wearing a podcast shirt.
She's wearing a podcast.
It says Eat, Sleep, Podcast, Repeat.
And I'm
that's
wearing a Randy Fitzsimmons shirt, so I don't know.
Dan got me this shirt, but it's from my buddy Mike Brown. What up, Mike Brown? He hosts a podcast called Pleasing Terrors. It's a really awesome podcast. Check it out. He actually had this shirt first, and I was like, Dan, you need to buy me that shirt. But yeah, so you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Reddit. We are all over. All the links will be posted in the show notes. Yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Happy Halloween. This episode was kind of a mess, but I hope you enjoyed it. It was basically me talking to myself.
It was really hard to remember a lot of what happened in this movie because I've seen it a lot of
Beers ago?
I was going to say a lot of beers ago, but a lot of events ago. I've had a lot
Yes.
happen between here and then, so.
To reiterate, this is the second time that we were recording this,
Yeah.
so we did our best. But again, it's a bonus episode for you because we love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the support. If you don't want to throw any dollars towards us, if you just want to listen to our show, what you can do to support us is actually go over to iTunes and give us a rating and review. We have been getting a bunch lately and they're really awesome, and we want to thank everybody that's taken the time to give us ratings. Linda, especially. Linda right now. And fuck the two guys that gave us 2-star reviews without actually saying why they didn't like it, because they're trolls. Happy Halloween, everybody!
Happy Halloween.
Deuces.
Happy Halloween! Screw you!
We are all in on clean energy, on solar, wind, and natural gas from renewable resources like methane capture at local farms, because we're all in for our planet, a cleaner future, your family, and we're all in for generations to come. Dominion Energy. Actions speak louder.